I got more tomatoes from the garden. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to eat these guys here. They're ripening slowly, but I will. But this video is really about this. And this. And this. And this. Now, a long time ago, my coworker, Jane, she gave me this here, and she said, everyone with carpal tunnel is getting this here at work. You should have one of these here, because I know you use a special mouse, and I think this one would be better than the one you already use. She saw that I was using this at work. I actually brought my own from home. She gave me this guy right here. Originally, this was $179 or something like that. And I fought it for a while, whether I wanted to use it or not. This is from Logitech. And I found that this was probably the best trackball I've ever had in my entire life. I even put new grips on the bottom a bunch of times. I love this guy here until it started to act really wacky on me. And eventually it just started failing more than it worked. And it's got a big ball. Compared to its other cousin, you can see it's slightly bigger. So that kind of forced me to move away from Logitech, which I love Logitech, but they don't make that anymore. And because they don't make it anymore, I had to look out for another company. At home, this is what I use right here. I use this a lot. I've used this since before I met my wife, because when she originally saw this here, she was freaked out by it, but now she prefers it because it's got two big buttons to click on, and it actually has two mini programmable buttons as well. Love that feature. Whoops. Love that feature. And I kind of slammed it down a little bit by accident. I'm not worried because they now have little tiny plastic balls on top of the big red ball, so it doesn't scar itself anymore. Because the worst thing that could happen to you while messing around with one of these guys here is you get your balls dented. And nobody wants their balls to have a dent in it, because when your balls have a dent in it, it has this deep groove. And the deep groove feels like a crater when you're trying to finger your hand around it. It's like, it feels like every single time you do that. But let's not talk about that right now. These are the two that I ended up getting. Now, I did ask my boss, hey, boss, Carlton's got a wrist on him. He like to keep that wrist, especially when he get older in a retirement home and he doesn't know anything anymore. You still have that good wrist, to go fight other people, senior fight club. Anyway, the weird thing is the boss wouldn't supply me with another one. And he's like, no, you just have to use one of these other ones. Like, nah, I'm not going to do that. I'm not doing something stupid. Because these guys here, and the reason why my wife literally converted into using this guy here was because even though I had limited space, especially limited space when I was in Atlanta, I would put this down and I would have full functionality of the freaking monitor, full functionality by using the finger as opposed to doing the reach. It's the reach that messes up your wrist and your arm. This thing has a lot of buttons. It has, let's put huge to the side. This is called depth, which is D-E-F-T, depth. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, technically 8 buttons on here. That's a lot. And we have the scroller. So that's 8 buttons, which includes the scroll guy here, and it includes the roller up top. So roller, scroller. Let's look at huge. Now, I love huge. Huge is the best one. Huge. Look at the size of my head and look at huge. You see that? This thing is huge. Okay, put it right next to my head. Still huge. The coolest thing about huge is not that it has the biggest ball of all these guys here. The best thing about huge is I have a lazy hand. I have fat, short, stubby fingers. I like to lay my hand right here and move it around. Huge allows me to do that. Depth actually makes me wrap my hand around it as though I got a Klingon weapon and I'm trying to hit you with it. You know what I mean? Or a Tron weapon. This right here, I lay down flat. I can't do all that stuff. I can barely pick it up with my pinky, but still, it's covering up my wrist because I'm lazy. computer user. I still look at my hands when I type. But let's look at the buttons here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The 8th is going to be the scroller again. So they both have the same number of buttons, but this one just has a bigger ball. The ball is also heavier. The device itself is heavy as well. The disadvantage to specifically the one that I purchased was mine does not have a wire connection. It is wireless only. Whereas this guy here is wireless and, look at that right there, wired. So it does have a micro USB on the inside of it. Between the 4, I still want the Logitech, but I'm not going to pay $400 for this here. So between the 2, because these are the 2 that is going to be available for you if you already have this here. And I know a lot of people have this here. This Amazon sells the crap out of these guys here. Staples does too. Between the 2, I got to say I like Huge. I like Huge because Huge gives me the ability to basically be lazy and efficient and effective with ease. You see that? Can you hear that? That's a scroller. It barely makes any noises. And it does have high, medium, low sensitivity on here. There's also a sensitivity thing at the bottom too. I don't know what the difference between all of them is. I don't really care. All I know is this is what I like to use, and this is how I use it. I use it for work right now. I've been taking it home for the last few days or whatever. And I do know that whenever an IT person or somebody comes over and tries to use my computer, this right here, they see it and they say, like, I can't do that. They freak out when they see it because it's got too many buttons. They see 2 buttons, they're okay. They see no buttons, they see 8 buttons, they're like, whoa, can't do it. Between the 2, Huge. Best thing ever. And it even tells you what the name of it is. Right there. It says Huge.